to log in, like some folks will say. They're waiting for the people to log in. No, not on the Avril show. We're here. We know you're going to watch it later, tomorrow, whenever, but the show is going to be aired. So thank you so much. We are coming up shortly, and this is the one and only, the Avril show.
Everybody talking about the country and how the native land is the best. But never ever let no foreigner fool thee. Some of them island is in a mess. And when they talk about democracy, peace and tranquility, not one
Mark, can you hear your song?
I can.
I tell you, Mark, the song sweet, you know. I just love that song. Welcome to the Avril Show. Tonight I have joining me no other than the Honorable, the Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley. If you never heard about Mark Brantley, then something wrong with you. You're not paying attention. Good night to you also, Problem Phipps. Good night to you. Thanks for commenting on the screen and letting us know that you're watching. And remember this show, if you don't comment, we may not know who exactly is watching, but we can see that the folks are on. So thank you so much for tuning in. Share the live and let the people know that we have something here to talk about that I want to hear about. And I'm going to allow you to introduce yourself to anyone who's hearing about you for the first time, which is impossible. Go ahead.
So good evening to you, Avril, and good evening to your listeners. Well, thank you for welcoming me back to your show. It's not my first time. You've always been very kind, very gracious in having me on. So I say thank you for that. I know you're widely listened to here in St. Kitts and Nevis, but also, of course, in the United States, specifically New York and the surrounding areas, where I know people tune in regularly to hear what you have to say and for you to talk about not just Caribbean matters, but also what's happening in New York and New York City. I know at one point you had me on with some politicians in in New York, and so that was useful. So thank you very much for
Your
having me, and I look forward.
your famous friend, Senator Jamal T. Bailey,
Yes,
Senator.
I hope he's doing well. I hope he's doing well. So I certainly
Yes.
look forward to the conversation tonight. And there's a lot happening in Nevis that I hope that we can, get into, and that we could have a great discussion. So I look forward to it.
Oh, sure. And you know that the tonight I don't know, it's something about Virgil that she sent out a message to me, and I said I got to speak to Premier Mark Brantley about something tonight, and
Mhm.
she was rolling, but I am going to first ask you the main thing that we're on here to talk about. We're going to talk about it. I know there's a lot happening in Nevis, and as I
Mhm.
said to my friend today, I said I think I going on to Nevis to find a job. And he said, then you have to live in Nevis. I said, then I'll have to live in Nevis. I would live there. But we're going to get to that. But I know you have a lot to tell us about Nevis, but you're here tonight to tell me about the Mango Festival that you boast about. And I think a year or two you gave me some stuff to give away for the Mango
Right.
Festival. And the person that won it is the owner of McCall's Bronxwood Funeral Home. And I was very upset that a funeral home won your stuff. I wanted to bring them home myself, But he was so happy. He put them on at the event and he was showcasing the apron and everything. So he loved it. So tonight I want to hear, because when I told a few people about the going down for the Senkis Music Festival, good night to you, Pearl Francis. Good night to you.
Mhm.
Um, and I said, then you're going to hop over to Nevis for the Mango Festival. So when they said, when is it? I said, well, it's right after the music fest. So let me get the right person on here. And then I'm going to tell you more about why you're on here to tell me about this Mango Festival. What is the Mango Festival, Mark?
So the Mango Festival is a celebration of all things mango. Nevis, as you know, boasts some of the sweetest mangoes in the world. We have over 40 varieties of mangoes on this island. Mangoes really grow wild. It's the most popular fruit here, and during the season, people are practically giving them away. So the mango here is synonymous with Nevis. Even our good friends in St. Kitts, they get mangoes all the time coming over from Nevis. In fact, Avril, is a joke that we share with our brothers and sisters from St. Kitts because Nevis doesn't allow fast food chains on the island. And so
Hmm.
St. Kitts has its fast food like KFC. Everybody loves KFC. So we say that the Kittitian men, when they want to, sort of get involved with a Nivisian woman, they bring a bucket of KFC. The Nivisian men, when they want to get involved with a Kittitian woman, they take some mangoes. That's like a running joke in the Federation. So we have all these variety of mangoes, and we came up with this idea. In fact, this year is the 11th year of this Mango Fest. We came up with this idea of really a food festival that has mango as its base. So during the Mango Festival, there are a number of events and culinary events all around the island. And the requirement is that not most, but all of your dishes should have some mango component. So it has mango sorbet, mango sauces, mango barbecue, you name it. But mango has to feature. And so we invite people to come. The event has grown in popularity. Last year we celebrated the 10th anniversary and it was huge, really a big event. We now have built the Malcolm Gishard Recreational Park, so we have a home for the festival. It happens there. But in addition, there are a number of fringe activities. The local restaurants go all out. There are people here, and we just invite people. The food on Nevis is extraordinary. And so we invite people to just go around the island to just try the different restaurants. We have something now called a food tour that is part of the Mango Festival where you actually buy a ticket. And what we've done with that is we have so many little mom and pop, backyard places in the villages all around this island, and we try to include them. So the food tour actually takes you up into Barnesgut, it takes you into Cotton Ground, it takes you into the villages where you go to the little shops and the little mom and pop pop-up places, and
Mm-hmm.
you would do something mango. So it's an opportunity for you to see the island, but also to sort of just immerse yourself in the food and the vibe that is Nevis. and we think it has grown in popularity. We also have, of course, a more sort of bespoke uh, dining events where we bring in celebrity chefs, and they would be cooking at maybe one or two venues on the island. So it might be one of the hotels, the Four Seasons or Montpelier, Golden Rock, as the case may be, and you would have get your tickets and go to that as well. And then it normally culminates on the Sunday. And this year, I think the Mango Festival is July 4th to 6th, and it culminates on the Sunday. And at the Sunday, we have the sort of all things mango event at the Malcolm Bishard Park. Last year, we featured 50 local chefs. And
Mm.
so each chef has a booth, and people just get their tickets and they just walk around and browse, eat what they want, try what they want. We try to get people to sample all 50 chefs if they have the appetite to manage it, because everybody's doing something different. Some are doing cocktails, some are doing drinks, other drinks, some are doing desserts, some are doing food. It really is a huge event, and it's so wonderful to see. It's very attractive, particularly for kitchens. They come over in their hundreds, and we really thank them for their support over the years. The people of Nevis come out as well, but you also have a lot of people coming in from overseas. And since this year it falls on the July 4th weekend, we are hopeful that those of us in the United States will decide, listen, let's why not head home, come to Nevis and bring a friend or two and enjoy what we have to offer. So I totally agree with you. The music festival this year is going to be huge. It's going to be epic. I'm told that hotels on St. Kitts are already sold out. In fact, Nevis hotels are now offering packages for the Music Fest, involving stay plus, your 5-minute ferry over underwater taxi, your ticket and transportation to and from the fest. But certainly people can certainly go to the Music Fest and then come to Nevis and unwind after and enjoy the Mango Festival. So for those out there who have a holiday coming up, want to bring the kids, want to just relax for a while, and if you only have the weekend, which is the 4th of July weekend, then certainly we suggest that you come to Nevis and enjoy what this island is trying to do. And I think we have something very special here, Avril. So I invite all of your fans all across the world, particularly those in New York, those in the Virgin Islands that I know listen to you, head on home to Nevis, bring your friends, tell somebody about it. We're going to have a grand time for the Nevis Mango Festival this year, July 4th to 6th.
Oh, okay. And first, let me get straight up. This is not your everyday political show. And if you write anything on my post, then you'll be off as a friend. You'll be off of everything. This show, it's all about talking about the good things that's happening in the Federation of Mark is not just talking about Nevis, he's also talking about St. Kitts. We are Twin Island, and as you can hear what he's talking about, we're talking about the good things. So you write anything on this post tonight that is political, you're going to remove it. This is not the show for it. When it's time to talk political, you will know it is political. So please remove your comment. But anyway, I am so happy to hear about this. But let me ask another question as someone asks. The drink makes from mango, the dessert makes from mango, everything make from mango on that day. And the fact that you say Nevis does not carry fast food restaurant, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we don't have any fast food restaurants in Nevis. It's a policy that the government has had for quite some time. So you won't find KFC or McDonald's or any of those in Nevis. If you want burger, you got to go to a local restaurant to get it. If you want fried chicken, I suggest you go to Sandy's Fried Chicken. It's better than some of the franchise chicken. So
Hmm.
yeah, you can get food of that nature on Nevis, but it's just that it's local.
But that to me is something different. It's a plus. You know, I was there and I went over to Canes to eat. And you were busy that day. I say Canes. Laugh. Someone say local food only. Nevis nice. Aha. Okay, but I did not know that when I was there. And problem, you should be ashamed of yourself because you didn't tell me that. But anyway, that is what I call natural, because you're trying to keep everything homey. There was a time when we come home to visit and you feel good to come home because The BVI don't have fast food restaurant, someone said. Calvin Romney says. Wow, that is good. Avril, good night to you and everyone who tune in. I wasn't aware. I'm learning tonight from the Honorable Mark Brantley. So Mark, so that means you're encouraging people to cook at home, support the local restaurant, support their own. But even if it's a fast food and it's owned by your local, so KFC is not a
So
local thing. It's a,
what we do not allow in Nevis are the franchises. So please understand me. If you want fried
Mhm.
chicken, you could get it in Nevis. Nevisians love fried chicken. If you wanted a burger, you could get it in Nevis. But we don't have the franchises in Nevis. So there's no McDonald's, there's no KFC, there's no Wendy's, there's no Burger King. We don't allow that in Nevis at this point. So that's the difference. So you can get a burger, but you'd have to go to a local restaurant or a local provider of that to get that. Yeah. So I want to, and we think, sometimes I think it's a question of public health as well. We just feel that without the prevalence of that on the island, it allows individuals hopefully to eat a bit better. Fast food is a go-to for a lot of people, particularly children. So we think it leads to a healthier Nevis as well. But I'm not knocking it. In St. Kitts, there's a fast food there, and a lot of our people go up and get it, as I made a joke earlier about a bucket of KFC. So, our people enjoy it as well. We just do not have it on Nevis. It's one of the peculiarities, I think, of the island, just like the island doesn't have stoplights, traffic lights. The island has peculiar signs like monkey crossing that you wouldn't see elsewhere. And the island has an abundance of mango. So we put in what we have to work. We're using what we have naturally to try to exploit that for the benefit of the island. And as I said, the Mango Fest this year is into its 11th year. So it's going pretty well. It has become now a mainstay on the tourism calendar. And I think people look forward to it because we do deliver a very good product for it. And so if you have persons on your life from the Virgin Islands, we encourage them, of course, to come. We're close by. And for anybody out there who loves mangoes, it's really an opportunity to come and to enjoy an entire sort of weekend based around mango. So I wanted to clear up something you said. You said everything had to be made of mango. That's not necessarily true. It has to have
Okay.
some mango component. So it
Okay.
has to be infused with mango. So for example, you may have barbecue chicken. I'm just drawing a reference, but that barbecue chicken may have some kind of mango sauce or something like that, or mango barbecue. Um, so that's really the idea of utilizing the mango. And then last year for the 10th anniversary, we introduced the concert as part of the grand finale on the Sunday, and that also went very well. We had artists like Abena Amri out of Nevis, but who lives in New York. She came home and was a part of that concert. So we continue to certainly up the ante. Last year we also introduced the VIP for the first time, and that also went very well. But really, the idea about it is just imagine the park, Central Park, for example, in New York. For those in New York,
Mhm.
we have a 11-acre park in Malcolm Guichard Park, and people are just walking around, browsing, eating what they want, trying out the various booths, and it's an opportunity as well for our local chefs to shine because we certainly, Nevis is all about empowering our people. And so while, yes, we have each year one or two celebrity chefs that come in, the festival is really around our local people. So our local restaurants, I mentioned the mom and pop type pop-up shops sometimes in the villages. And certainly on that day, we're going to have 50 plus local chefs. And this is an opportunity for our local people to shine, to sort of exhibit what they can do, and whether their thing is pastry, whether it's dessert, whether it's cocktails or other drinks. Last year, for example, I'm not sure if you're aware, Avril, but we now are producing beer on Nevis for the first time.
Oh,
And
you.
there's a brewery now called Nevis Peak Brewery. And last year they produced a mango beer for the Mango Festival.
Oh.
So so things like that, and
Oh,
it's
let
it
me
actually
ask you a question. Do you get drunk from mango beer?
I think you get drunk from any beer if you drink enough, unless it's non-alcoholic beer. So I wouldn't know because I don't drink enough to get drunk. So, but I could tell you it was refreshing. It was really a new again and an innovative introduction to the Mango Festival to have this mango beer. And in fact, Carib Breweries and St. Kitts also produced the mango beer for the occasion. So it's really becoming a significant event on the calendar. And again, I invite everyone to come check it out. It's on the 4th of July weekend, July 4th to 6th. And if you're coming home for the music festival, if you're visiting for the music festival, then certainly stay over and unwind on Nevis with the Mango Festival.
That is such a good way to do it, Mark. I'm telling you, the vision, the vision, the vision. I never knew that I could live to hear that, because we're always talking about going natural, going back to how we grew up and we lost that flavor. So when I hear you say that there is not about the fast food, I just love it. I just love to know I can come home and sit down and eat some of our homegrown and natural, I call it natural food, is cooked by our locals. So I always see you talking about planting and growing and all these great things in Nevis. So good night to you, Claudette Tyson. So it's a good thing, and good night to you, Avril in Washington. It's a great thing. And as Mark is talking about, if you're coming home for the music fest, after the music fest, it's not over. Now you have the Mango Festival. Well, let me
Mhm.
ask you a question. I was telling Virgil Hodge, she's a singer. I heard she's going Jamaica. So I say, since you're going Jamaica, maybe I'll sing a tune tonight for Mark, and maybe he can bring me down to perform at the music festival. But someone says it's a great opportunity to throw mangoes on the stage at me. So I said, well, the more they throw them, the more I fill my bucket. So I'll come in back to St. Kitts with a bucket full of mangoes.
I think
So
there's
I,
an easy. I think there's an easier way for you to get mangoes. Just ask me, and I get some for you. Don't have them thrown at you on the stage. I wouldn't want that to happen at all.
Mount,
Navy Jones grew up throwing stones, so they'll definitely hit you. So you don't want that to happen. So I really suggest that you just ask me. I'll sort some mangoes out for you.
well, I love you for that. Mountain food was the best. Calvert Romney and Glenn Hobson. Blessed evening to you also.
But
Mark, you
Avril,
always, yeah.
Avril, you hit a very useful point there about you know what we're trying to do on the island of Nevis. And you talk about my own efforts. I have a social media following, and I try to use those platforms to really to promote some aspects of sustainability that I think are important for all of the region. But since I'm the Premier of Nevis, I focus on Nevis. And one of the things that we have struggled with is the tremendous level of imported food. Now, when you and I were much younger people, certainly, I know when I grew up in Handley's Road, you most of what you ate was produced locally. So whether it's the local eggs, you went out in the morning to check the fowls to see if they had laid. You got eggs. You know. In fact, I'm gonna say something, and I hope not to be offensive. I was in a very very expensive restaurant in New York, and I was with some people, and on the menu, the most expensive dish that they offered was free range chicken. And I said to those at the table, I said, in the Caribbean, growing up, we had something that we call yard fowl.
Hmm.
It's were chickens who grew up in the yard, ate whatever, ate corn, grain, whatever. And then when you wanted chicken, you went out and killed one of these chickens, and that became
Hmm.
dinner. And I said, one of the strange things that happened is that was considered poverty, that poor people did things like that. When people started to get a payday and when money became available, that people could go to supermarkets, people started to abandon the yard fowl and started to eat imported chicken, which we now import to the tune of millions of dollars a year. But here in New York City, at a top restaurant, they were serving free range chicken, yard fowl by another name, and it was the most expensive dish. And so, in a very strange way, Avril, What the developed world is now embracing as organic and good, we have left behind because we are now saying where we could afford to go and eat McDonald's and we could afford to eat KFC and we can afford to buy food in the supermarket. And so the old tradition, I don't know if you know what it is, the gravel potato. I've graveled some potatoes in my time when you went out and you actually went into the ground and you came back with potato.
Mm-hmm.
You went, you cut a hand of banana, you had a whole bunch of banana on the tree, but you don't cut the whole bunch because you can't use the whole bunch at once. You cut it one hand at a time because that hand
Mm-hmm.
will be cooked for that day. You had fresh fish. Fishermen came in from the ocean with fresh fish. And our people lived longer lives. We had less access to doctors and we had less access to medication, but our people lived healthier lives. You now see entering our life and times here in St. Kitts and Nevis, lots of cancer, lots of other diseases. And some have made the argument that a lot of that might be linked to the food that we're consuming. In fact, during the COVID-19 pandemic, one of the greatest concerns of my cabinet was if the Port of Miami closed, Nevis would starve, Nevisians would starve. And it sounds sad to make that admission because we are on an island that is blessed with fertile soil, good rainfall, but the reality is that our people have not been growing much of what they eat at all. So we have, during COVID, one of our main responses was in relation to agriculture. We gave out free fencing wire so people could secure their property. We provided free land preparation. We provided free fertilizer, free seedlings, free seeds. We provided free water during that period of time. We handed out shade houses so people could set up and do sort of hydroponic shade house farming. We did all that in order to encourage our farmers to produce more. To our fisher folk, we gave free fish pot wire, discounted prices on additional rows of fish pot wire, again in an effort for them to go out and do more. But one of the things that I've also been encouraging our people to do is more what we call backyard farming. So a lot of our people now have become, how should I say, middle class or above upper middle class people. They're building some beautiful homes all across Nevis. And a lot of us are planting these beautiful palm trees. It looks like Florida in terms of, the beautiful, royal palms, and it looks spectacular. But guess what? They can't eat. So I've been saying to our people that there's nothing wrong with the ornamentals, but can you also landscape with fruit trees? Can you landscape with guava and with mango and with banana and with stuff like that? And I think that that message is getting through. In my own yard here, I live in a place called Montpelier in Nevis. I have lots of fruit trees, lots of mangoes. I have coconut in abundance. I have, bananas. I even have now pumpkin and seasoning peppers. It's just, I think, an effort in every, and I want people to understand because a lot of times, Avril, we complain here just as no doubt you complain elsewhere. In fact, when I followed the US elections, one of the big issues was cost of living in the
Mm-hmm.
US presidential elections. We have the same problems here. But if you can grow more of what you eat, every hand of banana, every pumpkin, every whatever cuts down on the amount that you have to buy at the supermarket. And so it's to my mind a no-brainer that you're helping yourself, you're helping your family. And the way that we used to live in Nevis is that if I have a bunch of banana and I could only eat a hand, I hand a hand over the fence to my neighbor. My neighbor, who's a fisherman,
Oh,
hands a
yeah.
string strap of fish, as we call it, over the fence to me. And that's how we have lived. And I think that there's some value in trying to rekindle that and allowing us to become more self-sufficient and having greater food security and food sovereignty, which I think is very important for a small island like us. So I want you to understand, your viewers to understand that nothing that we're doing is by chance. It is all part and parcel of a plan. It's all part and parcel of policy prescriptions that we're hopeful will build a better foundation for Nevis going forward.
And it's so funny that here in New York, we keep talking about the village. We keep talking about the village. Bring back the village, and it takes a village to raise a child, and we understand that. But the village was exactly what you're talking about.
Mhm.
Mark, I decided I wanted to cook some soup last week, and when I went to buy the potato, and they told me the cost for the potato, I said to my friend, I said, "Listen,
What kind of
the
potato?
people
Sweet
who
potato?
yeah,
Okay.
I'd just say potato because sometimes you have so much different type of potato, you know. But I'm here purchasing potatoes, and I said, look at the things that we take for granted
Of
back
course.
home in St. Kitts Nevis, because someone will pass and give you, as you say, a pumpkin over the
Of
fence.
course.
The
Fresh
neighbor
fruit,
give you a potato. Somebody grow
breadfruit.
and breadfruit. But
Yeah.
Mark, everything in New York, we have to go to the store
Mm.
and buy it to cook our soup. So sometimes when I say to people, you do not know what you have until you don't have it. Because growing up like myself, I left there as a child, younger, but I can
Mhm.
remember. But when I go home and I see someone come with a piece of pumpkin and give it to my brother, or somebody call my sister out and give her some things to cook, I have to say, no one in New York ever called me and say, "Hey, I have a mango for you." We're here complaining of the cost of mango, and somebody's telling me, "Man, mango is falling off in my backyard."
Of course.
So, so when I hear about the mango festival, I said, that's an experience. And I'm surprised when you said 11 years.
Yeah.
11 years, Glenn Hobson say we basically run away from the way we was brought up. But I'm very happy to see that Nevis has that natural way of living. Big up yourself, PM. Love your vision. Keep up the good works. Um,
So
this is what,
Avril,
yeah,
I saw something recently and I thought it was instructive. And the point that the author was trying to make is that we have been brainwashed into thinking that our way of life is poor, it's bad, that wealth and affluence means that we have to change our cultural mores. And the chap made the point, and he said he grew up in a Caribbean island. He went ocean every day, went to the beach every day. He ate fresh fish, he had fresh food, fresh guavas, fresh mangoes, fresh bananas, limes, you name it. It was all available to him. He was seduced to think that what he was doing was backward. What he was doing was the life of the poor. And so he fought his way to get to North America, where he stays now up there, catching train every morning, shoveling snow, living in somebody's basement, dealing with winter, dealing with the heat of summer, dealing with all the difficulties that he has to deal with in order to try to make a dollar because that's what he was told he should do. He said, but guess what happened? The Americans are going down to his Caribbean island and buying up the same land on the beach where he grew up and was told
absolutely.
that that was something was wrong with that. So he is gone to America to try to do better. And the Americans are coming down to his island, buying up the land, building a cottage on the beach. Guess what? So they could go swim in the ocean every day, eat fresh fish, eat fruits and vegetables, and have the life that we were taught and seduced into believing was the life of
Was
the
bad.
poor. So
But
it's part of it, I think, is how we reimagine our islands, how we reimagine development, and how we talk about it. And as a leader on this island, I have tried to have a very frank discussion with our people and to say to our people that there's so much that we can do for ourselves that is better, that is smarter, that saves us money, and frankly, that's healthier. We don't know, for example, the food that we import, what that food contains. We don't know the chemicals, we don't know the inputs into a lot of the food that we consume, and we don't know if it has any connection to new and increasing disease patterns that we're seeing in these islands. We do know that when we grow food locally, what that food has in. No preservatives, no kind of additives of any kind. It's fresh. It doesn't have any, hormones injected. None of that. And so, in a very real way, it is in our own interest to do more in terms of food security, to encourage our people to eat local, to buy local, to encourage more people to farm. And I know it's not easy because I've been doing this for a while. And when I was a boy, for example, I was born in a place called Hanley's Road in Gingerland. And, if I told my parents that I wanted to be a farmer, they'd probably throw me out of the house. Because,
Yes. Oh,
because
fisherman.
the whole thing was, oh, you're bright in school, you must be a doctor or a lawyer. I told somebody the other day jokingly, I was a grown man before I realized there were other professions other than doctor and lawyer, because everybody, you have to be a doctor, you have to be a lawyer. And
Uh-huh.
the truth is that we have had, of course, an unfortunate history of slavery. And a lot of people, there were echoes of that through the centuries. So a lot of people simply do not want any association with the land. They don't want any association with farming or agriculture, because that, almost in our DNA, brings back the sordid memories of a time that all of us would like to forget. And so the reality is that a lot of us have shied away from it. But we are now seeing more young people getting involved in agriculture on Nevis. We are seeing new technologies emerging, like the shade house technology that I mentioned. And just for your listeners, all that means is that you're growing food in a controlled environment. You're growing it in a house, essentially. That's usually done with some kind of wire mesh that allows you some protection from the elements. And we're seeing far more technology now, like your watering system being on a timer, your irrigation system being set up that way, your fertilizer, if you use fertilizer, being set up that way. So I think that is now more attractive to younger people, because the old backbreaking work, the image of a farmer is an old man on a donkey. That image is now fading, and people are now seeing farming as a viable economic undertaking, and I encourage it. And so things like the Mango Festival are just a further demonstration of our commitment to use what we have locally, to leverage what we have locally, to use our local chefs and the local talent that we have, the local fruits that we have, the variety of mangoes that we've been blessed with, to create something that's truly world class.
Well, let me tell you something. Premier Mark Brantley. I see Lexi Brooks on there talking about good evening, Premier Mark Brantley. I don't know if it's because she came over there and boasts off about all that she eat. Because when Lexi came back to New York, she had more
Mhm.
bottom than what she went down with. So I don't know what you all fed her between St. Kitts and Nevis,
I wouldn't
Trevor
know. I wasn't looking, so
Garvey.
I wouldn't know.
No, don't look at them, Mark. You
Yeah,
don't
that's what
need
I
to.
said. I wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know.
No. Well, good night to Lexi.
Good night to you, Lexi, Trevor Garvey in Florida. Janet
Yeah.
Dixon, I don't know if you all have KFC in Antigua, but we're talking about Nevis tonight. So
And you
we're
got to
here,
look.
and they have, well, Mark, please don't bring up Dukana because you have
I'm
people
just letting
laughing
you know.
after me. I
I'm
know, but
just
you're the
letting you
one that come on here and let people know that I am not a kitchen, because I came on here impressing you that Easter coming up and I want my Dukuna
know.
until you scold me and tell me, Avril, you can't be a kitchen saying Dukuna.
Yes, you've been hanging
Dukuna
around
belongs
too
to
long.
Janet Dixon from
Yeah,
Antigua.
exactly.
So I make sure I say
Conky
Kanki
belongs to
now.
you. Conky belongs
Okay,
to
then
you.
that's
Yeah.
right. So, Janet, you hear that the correction is made, because I'm big up to the governor in the Virgin Islands. I mean, that must be your friend, because talking to him, I had to laugh. I say, you and Mark Brantley got something in common.
For sure, for sure. Good
Yes.
night
So,
to the governor,
anyway,
for sure. Yeah, he's doing some,
yes, but
he's doing some great work in the Virgin Islands.
great. And Jamal, Senator Jamal Bailey, send hello
Yes,
to you.
say my
Okay.
regards to him as well.
All right. So, Mark, you have to get those people like Councilman Kevin C. Riley. He said, oh, I think we need to take a trip down there. But I
Sure.
don't know what you have to do or what you have to send to them so they can do a little getaway. I said, Senator, you need a little getaway with your wife and
So,
children.
so my pitch to them is that they're in New York and they should really come to the birthplace of Hamilton, Alexander Hamilton, who was, as you know, one of the U.S. founding fathers. He was the first Secretary of the U.S. Treasury. He was born in Nevis, and
Mm-hmm.
he spent most of his time in New York. Attended Columbia, founded the Bank of New York, you know, founded the Coast Guard, wrote the Federalist Papers, and the hit musical Hamilton was all about his life. So I think for the politicians who I know often on your show, they can definitely get good reason to come visit on the basis that they're coming to see Hamilton's birthplace. But Nevis has a lot to offer. We have some beautiful hotels, beautiful villas, and the life here and the vibe here is really fantastic. I think the main thing that the island offers is really the welcoming nature of our people. We get raucous at times and we get at each other at times, but certainly insofar as our level of service and hospitality, it is second to none. I like to remind our Caribbean brothers and sisters that Nevis is the birthplace of hospitality in the region because the very first hotel in the Caribbean was built in Nevis way back in the 18th century. And so the truth is that we have had a long history of service on this island. And I think that's what people take away. They take away the absolute joy that our people have interacting with those who visit. It is not feigned, it is not fake, it's not put on. It's a genuine welcoming spirit that we have as a Nevisian people. And I think that that is not only indescribable, it is something that can't be duplicated. You can't fake that. And so I think that Nevis is definitely the authentic Caribbean. It is how the Caribbean used to be. And I invite people who want that type of bespoke experience to come and see us and come and spend time with us. So the reason we
And
have no fast food.
you have a Jamaican there, Queen. She like to Queen TP. She love to travel all over the place. So Queen, now you hear it here from the premier of Nevis. We need to see the next visit. Your flag going up, say your Jamaican self is in Nevis. So you're listening to the premier telling you what Nevis have to offer. Make your next trip there. Georgina Richards, thanks for tuning in. Go right ahead.
So yeah, so the island I think has a lot to offer. And then the beauty of St. Kitts and Nevis, if I expand it now nationally, is that we are very much the yin and yang. I tell people all the time that we are just one of several multi-island states in the Caribbean. There's Antigua and Barbuda, there's Trinidad and Tobago, there's St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Carriacou, Petit Martinique. But the beauty about St. Kitts and Nevis is our proximity to each other. We have on Nevis pioneered this water taxi service. So if you imagine to your American audience, Uber, an Uber service, the water taxis take you back and forth between St. Kitts and Nevis. It's literally 5 minutes on the ocean, 2 miles at our closest point.
Mark,
And
is
so
that
what?
the speedboat?
Yes, the water taxi.
Okay.
So what's happening now, Avril, is that a lot of our people, local people, including, and now also a lot of our guests, are staying on one island but experiencing both. And so we used to have a tagline which says, two islands, one paradise. The truth is that whether you choose to stay on Nevis or you choose to stay on St. Kitts, you can experience both. So notwithstanding I say there's no fast food on Nevis, I give you a funny story. So I went to a reception that was held at the Four Seasons here during our annual swim. Because again, for your listeners and viewers, we have a very popular annual event. It's now a bucket list swim event where we swim the 2 miles from Nevis to St. Kitts. This year, that event attracted close to 500 participants from all around the world. And our goal is to grow it to 1,000 participants. So if you're a swimmer or you just want to come for the line because it's a great environment, then we invite you to that swim, cross-channel swim that we have each year. Starts in Nevis, it ends on St. Kitts. Now, they were having a party at Four Seasons, some very wealthy people. And I was there because I was talking to them about investment on the island. And it was so funny because, you know, on the sort of buffet, somebody had ordered a bucket of KFC from St. Kitts. So that was part of the buffet. And everybody thought it was a funny story. I say that to say that even though there's no fast food, as I've said on Nevis, if you have the craving, you jump on a boat, easy. If you're on St. Kitts and you decide, you know, listen, I want a sort of upscale, fine dining experience tonight, you jump on the boat, you head to Nevis, easy. And so you have a lot of people now who are going back and forth because the transportation links are so excellent. and they're going back and forth and enjoying what both islands have to offer. So for me, it's the yin and yang. St. Kitts is the bigger population. They have the significant cruise industries on St. Kitts. They have the casinos. They have the nightlife. They have it's far more hustle and bustle, for especially younger people, far more exciting. Nevis is more laid back. I think a bit more costly in terms of the stays, the cost of our resorts, etc. But what is offered is just different. But the beauty is that you can enjoy both. That you can decide to stay on St. Kitts and visit Nevis and vice versa because we're so close. Now, it's very
But
difficult to stay on Trinidad and enjoy Tobago. It's very difficult to stay on
mm,
Antigua and enjoy Barbuda. It's difficult to stay on St. Thomas and enjoy St. Croix. But here you can literally enjoy both. And I think that's something that we don't emphasize enough, but which is an important attribute of this wonderful, wonderful place on earth called St. Kitts and Nevis.
but let me ask you a question. I saw when you post that. My question to you: your lungs has to be good. You have to be a real swimmer, because if we take a boat to go to Nevis and people can swim across, I just want to know how these men. I don't know. I can't imagine it. That
Well,
is something
mhm.
interesting to look at. You're not talking about swimming in a pool. You're talking about um, you're talking about swimming from one island to the next.
Mhm. So it's open ocean swimming, and there's a lot of that happens in the world. But this event is unique because we're going from one island to the next, and it's attracting a lot of global attention. I think this year was the 17th year that it's happening, and it had just about 500 participants. But more than that, it's a whole, people come with the entire family. For a lot of people, it's a bucket list item, meaning that they want to go to these types of rare events that happen globally. And we're seeing a lot of interest in this particular event, which is the annual cross channel swim. And both islands benefit. In fact, this year you had people for the swim but who were staying on St. Kitts at the hotels in St. Kitts because all the hotels in Nevis were full, and so they were staying at hotels in St. Kitts. So that's the other thing about these two islands. We benefit. If you're at Park Hyatt, you jump on the ferry at the dock at Park Hyatt, and you arrive into Nevis, and vice versa. So it's not unusual at all for the people to really benefit from and experience both islands. Avril, we're so close that I can head to St. Kitts for lunch, be back in Nevis for dinner. I can head to Nevis for breakfast, be back in St. Kitts for lunch, back in Nevis for dinner. I mean, it's that type of experience. And as I said, I think that in our marketing, in our appeal to discerning travelers, we ought to emphasize that more. You actually get the benefit of both islands when you visit and stay here.
Okay, Dr. Gloria Bent says she was in Nevis for her birthday. Dr. Bent, where did you stay? So I can, I mean, you feel like home when you're home in St. Kitts and Nevis, as Mark Brantley says. I'm telling you, there is so much to explore in our twin island. People say we're small, but we Talawa. That's what we tell them. So, I mean, we're talking about the Mango Festival and all the great things happening in the island of St. Kitts Nevis. And I do appreciate, Mark, you pushing Nevis, pushing St. Kitts, telling people about our twin islands and to come down at the music festival. But I want to say something to you. I noticed you had a big event in Nevis. I don't know, I don't think it was the Mango Festival. And but you had a Jamaican artist performing and you had the nerves to go on stage trying to sing. And I say, you're the premier, stay being the premier, because the only thing I hear you say, yaga, yaga, yaga. So I don't know what you say, but you were trying to sing reggae. Are you going into singing, Mark?
I'm very disappointed that you didn't get the value of that experience because it was my debut
I know
on
it was,
stage.
but I want
I
to know
was
if
on
that's where
I was
you're
on
heading.
I was on stage with the great Taurus Riley.
Yes.
But if you blame anybody, blame Lexi because she said that they wanted to see me backstage. I thought that I was going on
Mm.
stage just to thank Taurus for being here and to say goodnight to the audience. And then when I got
Uh-huh.
on stage, Taurus apparently is a part of his show. I didn't know that. I had no advance notice. He said that I have to sing a song. And I confess that I do speak on the microphone from time to time, but speaking and singing are different things. And they say you should really stick to what you know and what you're good at. And so singing was certainly not my intention that night. I went there just to say hello, but after he said I have to sing, I sort of racked my mind, and the only thing I could come up with was an old song by Yellowman from Jamaica. And despite your efforts to mischaracterize my appearance, I will have you know that I got calls. The Grammy Awards wanted to reach out to find out if I was available to perform. America Got Talent. Britain Got Talent. All of them reach out, and I said, speak to my agent. So
Who is your agent? Because Georgina Richard said you was on Culturama. Who is your agent,
I
Mark?
told him that you were my agent. So I thought, so if they didn't call you, I guess things didn't work out. But
No, because Lexi was fighting me. When I saw you,
yes,
I reached out right away and I said, Lexi, did you by any chance set up Mark? She denied everything.
She said she's the one who set it up. Because she told me that they wanted me backstage. Next thing I know, I'm on stage. A mic is in my hand, and Taurus tell me sing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm from Nevis. I don't back down, so I start to sing.
And Mark, I respect you. I respect you for trying. It was good. I think it was the biggest performer. Did they pay you by any chance?
They didn't pay me, and I'm concerned about all that. So I'm trying to get royalties. I'm trying to get all kinds of things. But what can I say? It was a fun experience.
Mark, here, Lexi calling here, Mark. You have to defend yourself. I don't know how Lexi could defend herself. Lexi, you have no right. I have you here, and people are listening to you. So you don't put yourself in no more hot water.
In the name of Jesus. What have I done? Pleasant good night to your staff, or pleasant good night to the Honorable Premier.
Good night, Lexi. Good to hear you.
What have I done?
Lexi, she was talking about the Taurus Riley show.
Hello?
Yeah, he's responding to you, and he can hear exactly what you're saying. So go ahead and defend yourself.
I don't know what you're talking about. I logged in for a second, but a call came in. What did I
miss? He's reporting to the people that you was the one that set him up on stage with Taurus Riley. Lexi, you don't do that to our government in St. Kitts and Nevis, please. I have to. I'm gonna hang up on you and let Mark finish talking. But I want the people to know that you're live and you know that Mark speak the truth tonight. So goodbye, Lexi. Oh, yes.
I did not say the They said that he's the performer, he's the singer. They wanted to hear him sing. They wanted to hear the premier sing, and so I was summoned to go and retrieve the premier. I said, Mr. Brantley, sir, you're being summoned to the stage. He had no idea what was going on. I had no idea what was happening. And then, I was told, get him a mic him up. And then there was a battle between him doing Shabba ranks, and it was amazing. He did fantastic. He matched up the show. It was still the show from Taurus Riding. That's all I remembered.
Well, Mark, you know what? I am going to see to it. Lexi, thank you for clearing yourself live. Everyone heard it. We'll talk later after the show. But Mark, let me say this to you. You make sure that the next time another big artist come, that you also go on stage. Prepare yourself. When you hear these artists come in, study them songs, because you don't know when you're going to be called out. And they even talk about your shoes. I was telling the governor of the Virgin Islands something about you with your shoes and socks. I don't know where you order them, but Taurus even talk about your shoes.
So it was all good fun, Avril. I mean, and Lexi's a great person, and she made all of this happen. And I think at the end of the day, it's good not to take ourselves too seriously and to have some fun. A lot of what we do as politicians and as leaders is always serious. We're always under the spotlight. People are always looking, and of course the critics are ever present.
Yeah.
But sometimes just to let your hair down, just relax and just be human. And I think that's what was so fun that night. And so I kudos to King Yellowman. I did one of his songs, two lines of one of his songs, and that went really well. So
right, and it's such a a privilege and an honor just for you to be here because I learned something tonight. As much as I came to Nevis and was excited to go over and eat the food and came over on the boat, maybe next time I'm going to swim across because on the boat I couldn't wait for the boat to just put me
Which
off.
boat did you take? You took the ferry from town, or you took the water taxi?
And no, no, no. I did the water one before, but it's too fast. I get there too quick. It's too fast. And if I eat before I go on there, I feel a
So,
little, nervous.
so
But I
in,
took the other one from in
so
town by the buses.
so in New York, you only take the local train.
Mark, I really don't go much on the train. And if I go
No.
on the train, is the number two and local, but I hardly go on the train.
All
If I
right.
take the train, Mark, is the number two. I don't know which one you went on and who had you
I used
because
to
the
take the
next
number
time.
two, the East 174.
Oh, okay. So
Right.
you was really in the Bronx.
Yes,
In the
definitely,
Bronx.
definitely.
Okay, Mark. The next time you come here, I have to know when you're here because I have to see where you go to eat. Lexi says she loved the water taxi, and you mash up the show. I don't know if she's trying to boost you up, but Mark, do another one. You have to do another one.
No, man, that's
The
okay.
next
One is enough. One is enough.
one is
Yeah.
well, I told Lexi, with all the history Lexi and I have, she never booked me for no event, Mark, and she was the one that challenged me to go on stage and I will get free mangoes. And all these Jamaicans on tonight talking, but they're planning a trip down to St. Kitts, Mark. A few Jamaicans and American, we're doing a woman getaway to St. Kitts Nevis. So
Mhm.
I have to organize that well because we want to spend time in Nevis, time in
Sure.
St. Kitts, so it's a woman getaway. So we're planning this. And they say they want to go in, they have the restaurants and stuff, like it's not too crowded. We want to go at a time when we could say we go and sit down and we eat and it's not too packed. Because
Right.
carnival and these things is packed,
Right.
but we want to tour Nevis and we want to have it for ourselves. We greedy like that.
So a time I think that you could look at is the summer. The islands tend to be one more affordable because all the hotel rooms are less expensive during the summer, but two, I think less visitors are here during the summer. So it's a great time to come, and that's why you have Music Fest, you have Mango Fest, you have Culturama, which happens at the end of July and into early August. And so all of those are great periods to be here. August is a great time to be here as well. And they always welcome guests, but certainly if you're coming with a large group, you may want to consider the summertime. That's a great time to come.
Okay, great. And Lucy, if you're listening, because the ladies from the NCNW, they really want to do this. And I know why Young she's on tonight. And Lexi said Nevis is heaven. So I'm telling you, she find heaven on earth already. And I would say that why Young can't wait. They can't wait. Pauline, everybody, they already signed up. We
Fantastic.
are coming down as women. We are coming to take Nevis by storm. I don't know if this happened after you show all these men swimming across from Nevis to St. Kitts because these men have to be strong to do what they do. So all of a sudden, everybody wants to go to Nevis and St. Kitts.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we certainly welcome them. We look forward to seeing you and seeing your friends with you. And we are in a state here where you say each one tells one. We want people to know about us. We want people to understand what we're trying to do here. I think our story is a very, very special story, Avril. And I'm privileged at this point to be the person in charge of the island of Nevis. But whoever comes next, I hope will continue that very rich tradition of leadership and uh, just being direct and accessible with our people and having a very clear vision for our island and what we want to be, what we are, and what we are not. And certainly to play to our strengths. And I go back to the Mango Festival. That's one of the reasons why this idea came about. We have so many mangoes all over the island. Why not do something with mango, create something around mango? And here we are, 11 years on, and having a very significant, event that's certainly on many people's calendar around the region and around the world. So it just tells you, once you're focused and you have the right ideas and the right people to implement those ideas, that really we are unstoppable. We're small, yes, but our potential is limitless.
Thank you so much. You heard it here. You couldn't listen to Avril. You heard it exactly from the premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley. Nevis is peaceful, kind, clean, rich, warm.
Mhm.
Oh my God, let's see. You got to get your house there, and we'll give you. I think your Jamaican passport expire a long time because you're all about St. Kitts Nevis. So, Honorable Premier, you're welcome to this show at any time to speak
Thank
about
you.
what's going on in the island of Nevis and St. Kitts. And I thank you for giving me the time because I know you're very busy. And I look forward to you telling me to forgive myself. And I didn't understand, but we're going to talk about that because that's something that hit me. And I'm going to bring you back on this show where we're going to have a topic on a few things that you talk about.
Well, Avril, thank you for the opportunity, and I'm so grateful to you and to your audience. I wish your show continued success. You're doing excellent work, extraordinary work, taking the message of St. Kitts and Nevis global. And I end where I started by inviting you and all your friends and all your listeners and family to come to the St. Kitts Music Festival to start, because I think it's going to be exceptional this year, and then to stay on while you're here and to come to the Nevis Mango Festival, which is a culinary festival from July 4th to 6th. And if you can't make it for the Singers Music Festival because that's in June and you only have the 4th of July weekend, then why not head home for the 4th of July weekend, bring friends with you, and enjoy the Mango Festival and immerse yourself in a culinary experience like no other. And so we invite you to come see us experience what we have to offer. We invite you to come and invest. Avril, it's high time you build a nice little villa here on a hill or on the beach. And you know, when you're in New York, you have it rented out, so it's earning for you. There are so many opportunities here, and we invite our people in the diaspora to take a fresh look at their own country, to have their children and grandchildren take a look at this, their homeland, and never lose contact with St. Kitts and Nevis, this land that has given so many of us so much. So thank you for this opportunity, and I look forward again when you invite me to being engaged and to have this type of conversation. I really enjoy my time here on your show, Avril, and I say a hearty thank you.
And thank you for your hospitality. Thank you for your response time. Thank you for your assistance and everyone working for you. I mean, you don't take no time to getting back to me. So I really thank you. And I look forward to building more and see you soon. And next time I'm coming with the ladies. So we're coming to tear Nevis apart, eat their mangoes, then go to St. Kitts if they want some KFC. But now, by the time they finish with real food, they're gonna be growing their own. And Lexi, thank you so much. Tell her premier, Jesus.
Take care. Good
You
night.
too. Good night. God bless you and your family.
Ciao, you too. Bye bye.
God bless the people of Nevis and St. Kitts. Good night, everyone. It is a pleasure. And you were listening to the Honorable, the Premier, Mark Brantley.